I moved into the building 3 months ago. Nothing fancy. Just an old apartment complex on the edge of the city. 4 floors, 1 elevator, a narrow hallway that always smelled faintly of dust and cleaning chemicals. The rent was cheap. That should have been my first warning. At first, everything felt normal. The neighbors were quiet. Too quiet, maybe, but I figured people just kept to themselves. I worked late nights. Most days I came home after midnight. The elevator was slow, always groaning as it climbed. Every night I stood alone inside that metal box, watching the numbers change. 1, 2, 3, until it reached my floor, 4th. That's when things started to feel wrong, not suddenly, gradually, subtle enough that I could ignore it. One night, I noticed the hallway lights were dimmer than usual, not off, just weaker, like they were tired. I walked past the doors lining the corridor, apartment 401, 402, 403, all closed, all silent. No TVS, no voices, no footsteps behind the walls, just the soft hum of electricity. I unlocked my door and went inside. Didn't think about it again. The next morning, the elevator smelled strange, metallic, cold. I told myself it was just old wiring, old machinery, old everything. A few days later, I realized something else. The mailboxes on the first floor were overflowing, envelopes sticking out, packages piled on the ground. I assumed management was behind on deliveries, or maybe people were on vacation. But as the days passed, nothing changed. No one picked up their mail, no one came or went. I stopped seeing anyone in the building, not even in passing, not in the lobby, not in the elevator, not in the hallways. I told myself it was coincidence. Cities are like that. People disappear into their own lives. Until one evening, I heard crying. It was faint, coming from somewhere down the corridor. I stepped into the hallway and listened. The sound echoed softly between the walls. I followed it. Past 401, past 402. It stopped near 403. I stood there, heart pounding, staring at the door. "Hello?" I whispered. No answer. The crying faded. I went back to my apartment feeling ridiculous. That night, I couldn't sleep. The building felt different, heavier, like the air itself was pressing against my chest. Around 3 a.m., I heard footsteps in the hallway, slow, dragging. I pressed my ear against my door. The steps stopped right outside. I held my breath. After a long moment, they continued down the corridor. The next day, I finally decided to knock on one of my neighbor's doors, just to check. I chose 402. I knocked, no response. I knocked again, louder, still nothing. I tried the handle, locked. I did the same with 401 and 403, all locked, all silent. That's when I noticed something strange. There was another door at the end of the hallway, one I was certain hadn't been there before. No number, no peephole, just a plain dark door. I stood staring at it, trying to remember when it appeared. My stomach twisted. That night, the elevator didn't stop on the 4th floor. The numbers kept changing. 4, 5, 6. I pressed the button again. Nothing happened. The elevator slowed, then stopped between floors. The lights flickered. My reflection stared back at me from the metal walls, but something about it felt off. It wasn't blinking when I did. The doors finally opened, not to another floor, not to a hallway, just darkness, endless black space. Cold air rushed inside. I stumbled backward, panic flooding my chest. The doors closed on their own. The elevator began descending. When it opened again, I was back in the lobby. I ran outside, didn't look back. I spent the night in my car. By morning, I had convinced myself it was stress, sleep deprivation, imagination. I returned to the building. Everything looked normal. The elevator worked. The lights were bright again. I almost laughed at myself until I reached my floor. The hallway was empty. All the apartment doors were gone, just smooth walls, except for one, that same dark door at the end, waiting. I moved out that day, didn't pack, didn't say goodbye, just left. A week later, I drove past the building. It wasn't there anymore. In its place stood an empty lot, covered in weeds, no sign it had ever existed. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear elevator bells, and when I close my eyes, I see that door at the end of a hallway that never ends, waiting for someone else to come home. And I wish I could say that was the end, but it wasn't. 2 nights ago, I woke up to the sound of movement, not footsteps, not breathing, just something shifting in the dark. I was still in my own apartment, different city, different building, different floor, but my hallway light was on. I don't remember turning it on. I got out of bed, slowly, quietly. The air felt cold against my skin. I walked toward the door. Every instinct told me not to, but I did anyway. The hallway looked normal. White walls, gray carpet, emergency exit sign glowing softly. Except at the far end, there was a door, no number, no handle, just smooth, dark wood, exactly like the one from before. My heart started pounding. I backed away, locked myself inside, didn't sleep for the rest of the night. Yesterday, I checked the building plans online, out of curiosity, out of fear. There is no apartment at the end of my hallway. There never was. So, if you ever find yourself alone in a building that feels too quiet, if the elevator takes longer than usual, if a door appears where there shouldn't be one, don't touch it, don't knock, don't open it, because some places don't exist on maps. They exist between moments, between floors, between people. And once they notice you, they don't forget.